a really hot girl.
Motivation.
I ended up dating that girl, too. And so here we come full circle to the whole point of the beginning, right? So I started competing. I remember it like it was yesterday. My first show was the Mr. Northeast Philadelphia, and I took second. And I thought, wow, this is fun, this is great. I went on to the next show 2 weeks later and won. It was called the Mr. Delaware County, which is a county down in Pennsylvania. And so there it started. And by the end of that first year of bodybuilding, I had placed 6th in the Mr. America in Worcester, Massachusetts. And I started competing in all different, I didn't really know the difference between the MPC and the NAVA and the AEU, so I was competing in all different kinds of leagues, doing all kinds of stuff. And I had won a lot of shows, the Pennsylvania, the Delaware, the New Jersey, Mr. East Coast. And then finally I get to the Mr. International, I win that. At this point, I had gone through college. I'm now a police officer. I became a police officer, and
you went from football, powerlifting, bodybuilding, then you became a cop.
I was a cop in the middle of this. That's correct. I was in college. I left college, became a cop.
All right, that's some scary stuff, by the way.
I know, right? It was crazy.
Being pulled over by you. Oh, yeah, okay, here you go, officer. You want my wallet, too?
We had a lot of fun. That's all I'm going to tell you. It was a lot of fun.
I can imagine.
So my chief says to me, and at the time I was married. I got married very young, and I said, I was done with it. Like I kind of took a break from bodybuilding. And the chief at police said, there's this. He gives me this flyer. He says, we're going to pay to send you this thing, and it was the World Police and Fire Games. Okay. And that was basically an Olympics for all the cops and firemen in the world. And of course, I go to this thing. It was in Memphis.
Wait, that was your firemen and policemen from all over the planet?
All over the planet.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I won that show and met Jim Mannion there, who's now the president of the IFBB.
Right.
And him and Gary Udit, sort of said to me, you need to get in the NPC, you need to start trying this and that. And then I really got involved on a heavy level, competing in all these shows and so forth. At some point, I decide I'm going to live the dream. This is how I am. I'm not afraid to put it out there. I'm not afraid to reach as far as I can. And I said, you know what? I'm buying a plane ticket. I'm flying to Venice Beach, and I'm going to get a sponsor. And it became like a joke between me and my friend Joe. Mm-hmm. And Joe was going with me to Venice Beach, so we go to Venice Beach. I get all tanned up, I get all. I'm about 215 shredded, right? Right. So we go to Gold's Gym, and this is what I was telling you. We walk into Gold's Gym, Venice, and there's this guy standing there, and he says, "Oh my God, look at this guy! Who is this guy? He's huge." I walk over. Who's saying this? Here it is, Samir Banu, coming over to me, and I almost fell on the floor. This guy was like a hero of mine. Right. I mean, he was an idol of mine. So he and I and Joe are training, and this is a true story. None of this is fabricated. The gentleman comes up to me within 15 minutes of me being in Gold's Gym in Venice Beach, and you know how big that gym is.
I know how big that is. Those ceilings are.
The salt and pepper hair guy comes up to me. He says, where are you from? I said, what do you mean, where am I from? He says, well, you're not from here. I know everybody around here, and you're all tanned up, and where are you from? What's your story? And I'm thinking at this point, like, why is this guy asking? I'm from Philly. Right. I'm an East Coast guy. I'm like, what do you want? I'm thinking he's, a little...
He's hitting on you?
Which is fine,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, I know.
He's asking me all these questions, and I said, okay, well, you got me. I'm from Philly. I'm a cop, and I'm an aspiring bodybuilder, and I want to turn professional. I want to be Mr. Universe and whatever. He says, well, I think you got what it takes. And I said, well, who are you? Like, why do I care what you think? He said, well, I'm kind of like a bodybuilding talent scout. I said, really? He says, yeah, if you want to talk about it, because I think I can help you out. If you want to talk about it, come to my office when you're done working out, and we'll see what we can do to help you out. And at this point, I'm curious. I'm like, well, trying to make some kind of get this guy's credentials. So well, where's your office? He says, well, if you go around the back, go up the steps, on the top floors of the gym is where my office is. So are you part of this gym? He says, no, I own the gym. I said, you own Gold's Gym in Venice? He says, oh, no. My name's Ed Connors. I'm one of the 3 owners of Gold's Gym Enterprises.
The franchise.
You know who that is, right?
Oh, yeah, I know who that is.
I dropped the weight immediately and say, my workout's over, Ed. Let's go.
Yeah, you have to jump on the opportunities, man.
I'll never forget, I was doing lap pull downs. I let go of the bar and said, let's go, right? We go upstairs. he makes me take all my clothes off, strip down to my underwear, and I'm looking at my buddy Joe going, oh boy, this is either going to turn out really good or really bad.
Right.
Long story short, he offered me, again, the details I don't think he would appreciate me disclosing, but they offered me a sponsorship that would last the next 3 years, in which I would have a place to live, I would have, money in my pocket, and all I had to do was promote the gym. It was probably one of the defining moments of my life, and to this day, Ed and I are very close, and he has been like a second father to me.
Well, that's awesome.
And he is the one who facilitated a lot of the fame that I got, a lot of the magazine coverage I got, and to this day, I just am in debt to him emotionally, because he's like a father to me.
Yeah.
So
I've heard he's a great guy, by the way. So
that doesn't even come close to, and there's no agenda with him.
Right.
No agenda, except for to help people reach their dreams, period. He's helped wrestlers, and I know if you know this, he's helped wrestlers, he's helped bodybuilders, he's helped actors. He's one of those people that, and because of him, I'm able to tell this story that I have that took me around the world. Literally, I end up competing and getting better and placing higher and getting magazine coverage and getting sponsors. And I mean, I competed in Mr. Universe in England and the World Championships in Greece, and I won the Mr. North America and the Mr. International. And I mean, it took me all over the world. Literally, I've been to you name it, I've been there.
But I like the fact that you don't forget what got you to where you are, and that makes you who you are. And I think you're a great guy, Jack. So, I mean,
I appreciate it.
Remembering what people did way back when today is a big
I've always
thing.
been one of these people that just, I believe in myself, I believe in my convictions, and I don't really believe in limitations. And there's a sport that I'm involved in now that we'll talk about later, but that you really need to let go of your limitations as well. But I also don't forget that I'm no better than or different than anybody, except for the fact that I'm willing to take that chance. I'm willing to work. I will outwork you, outlast you, outlift you, outdiet you. I remember I used to diet for 6 weeks. I heard everybody was dieting for 8, so I started dieting for 10. Then I heard everyone was dieting for 10, so I started doing it 12. Then all of a sudden, all I knew I was dieting 6 months out of the year. Because I figured, well, if you're dieting 12 weeks, I'm going to diet 14 weeks, and I'm going to be more shredded than you, and I'm going to win. You're not going to beat me, ever. Just not going to happen. I'm just going to, I'm never going to show up where I'm not ready. I'm never going to let that happen.
That's passion.
I never lost a powerlifting meet. I never took second, ever.
Well,
that's great. It doesn't make me any different than anybody else, except for I'm willing to try. I mean, if you, it's like they say, whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're probably right.
Oh, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. But for those that are out there that are involved in, or just getting involved in powerlifting, bodybuilding, any type of sport, anything in their lives, listening to your story, if you want something that badly, you're going to do what you need to do to get there. And that's what you did.
Exactly. And the most important part, I always try to mentor people. I have people email me and PM me on Facebook, thousands and thousands of people. And I always tell everyone the same thing, which is know where you want to work, visualize and know where you want to be, and you'll get there. Just don't tell yourself why you can't. Find reasons why you can. You will get there. It's just a matter of how bad you want to get there. If I did it, I used to look at Samir's picture, and I used to idolize Samir Banu. But I also used to say, well, you know what? If he can get a Christmas tree like that, guess what? I can get a Christmas tree like that. And I never thought, well, if I can't do that, I used to think he's great. I would never be envious, but I would say, I can do that. I'm going to do that. Mm-hmm. And I've always in my life, no matter what goal it was, I've always reached that goal. I've never quit or given up. And believe me, there's been plenty of obstacles, just as anybody else, that, people and family members and spouses who didn't want me to do what I was doing, who thought I was crazy to do what I was doing. But I always stuck firm to my beliefs, and that saying, stay true to yourself, it's kind of hokey, but it's really true.
No, it's very true.
Stay true to yourself and what you want to do for you, not to impress other people, not to be famous, not to be rich, but because it's something that you need to do for yourself. You'll get there. It's just a matter of when, not if.
Right. Right, and I agree with that 100%. A lot of people, they tend to give up before they even start to fight. Having the fight to go in